Welcome to Theory of Conspiracy. Don't adjust your headset, you are listening to three northern lads from the UK talking about their own beliefs whilst challenging each other's.
Hello TheoCons, welcome back to another episode in these strange times. It was great to see this week some feedback on social media. Darren posted some great comments and challenges on our Facebook group, and we also got our podcast up on another platform, Podbean, and Matt left us 2 or 3 comments regarding the Spanish flu and why the Spanish flu got its name, the Spanish flu, which was apparently due to the Spanish not being part of the treaty, which I can only assume was the treaty regarding basically lockdown in similar times that we find ourselves in today. So yeah, that was great. If you want to leave your own comments, or if you want to help support the podcast, please give it a like, give it a subscribe, share it with another friend, come on social media, tell us if you agree or challenge us like Darren did. Carlos is quite active on our Facebook and Twitter pages, posting all sorts of links to the recent topics of the podcast. So if you've got any links you'd like to share, or if you want to challenge any of those links, then please feel free to do so. It's great. So, short introduction from me today. Let's get on with it. So we're going to be talking about the Rendlesham Forest incident, or the British Roswell, or the Rendelsham UFO, or one of the other names it might have, which was a claimed UFO sighting in the 1980s. Oh, before we jump in, has anybody noticed the bonus content I've started adding at the end of the last few episodes? Feel free to check that out and let me know if it's a good or a bad thing. Okay, enjoy. Right, chaps, Rendlesham Forest. So, on December the 26th, Boxing Day in 1980, there was a series of reported sightings of unexplained lights near the Rendelsham Forest, which is in Suffolk, England. It's probably known as the British Roswell. It occurred just outside RAF Woodbridge, which was an American Air Force base at the time. So, Carlos, what do you know about the incident?
Yeah, I know a bit about this. It's obviously 2 RAF guys, Penniston and Borough, I think the names were. They were sort of seeing some interesting lights and activities in the forest, and they started following it. It was actually Penniston and Borough who actually followed the lights into the forest, and that's when they started getting messages and from the actual craft themselves, which Penniston himself has actually written down some binary codes, which the information from the UFO. So that's the gist. There's more to it, but that's the gist of it.
Go on, Carlos. Tell us about this binary code.
Yeah, the binary code is Penniston obviously went over to the craft in the forest, and he apparently put his right hand on the craft, and the craft started transferring information to him in terms of mathematics and binary code. And then we obviously, after the incident, he started documenting the code, because it was like a monotony. It was a sequence of numbers that kept going through his mind constantly, and he just wrote it down on a piece of paper. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm sure it was like 20 plus pages of binary code, and it actually means something. It actually has been the actual message. When you decipher the binary code, is actually exploration of humanity, continuous for planetary advance. That's the actual message he gets from the binary code. So unless the guy's a genius, or he's got a mind of like an IBM computer or something, so that's one of the clean messages. A lot of people saying it could be he could have invented it, but can somebody really memorize 27 pages of binary? I don't know.
Well, he did, didn't he? He wrote it down from his memory.
Well, we've only got his word, it was from memory. Someone sat there watching him.
In what language did it spell? And what did it spell again?
Exploration of humanity, continuous for planetary advance. That's what the message was given from the binary code.
Smells like bullshit to me.
That's what it actually said, what you said, or are you saying that's what the message was about and the message was a lot longer?
Oh, the when they decipher the messages from the binary code, that's the messages they got from it. Exploration of humanity, continuous for planetary advance.
Right, so it's like the title of some sort of book or folder that the aliens had, but then no detail, no sub paragraphs or anything.
That's the bit what got them. Like Nick would usually say, that's the bit what got them the clickbait from that. And I think they started touring. I know the word touring about 27 years after the event. And the only you get people like Bob Lazar. Bob Lazar has kept his story pretty much the same from day one. These guys, their stories have twitched a little bit. It's changed. Obviously, if I'm telling the same story over 30 years, of course it's gonna evolve slightly. You know what I mean? I was drinking a can of Pepsi, but now I'm drinking a can of Coke. You know what I mean? It may evolve, but obviously days, times, and events shouldn't change. But it's an interesting one. But it's the bit where it's the binary code. Like you said, could they have got some kind of mathematician to do it for him and pay him, or can somebody actually memorize 27 pages? Yes, he says he's done it, but I've not witnessed him actually doing the binary code. So that's the bit where it catches people out and people start thinking, and that's the bit where people start thinking, could they be time travelers? So why is the message in English? If these are people from other part of the world, why is it in English? Why is it not mathematics?
To be honest, you don't need to memorize the 17, 20 pages, whatever, of binary code. I learnt binary code in GCSE computing back in 1992, 93, and it's literally it's just 8 digits for a character, and all you need to know is all you need to memorize is right. A is say character 64, B is character 65, C is character 67, and then to write them in binary. So once you know what sentence you want to do, so you go right, I want a T. So all binary is if you count backwards, the ones and zeros just indicate a series of numbers. You add them up to get the total. So for example, 01 in binary is the number 1. 10 is the number 2. 11 is the number 3. 100 is the number 4, and so on. So it's quite easy. I used to have a wristwatch, if Nick remembers, that told me the time in binary. So you just had to do the maths in your head. So it's just maths. So it's not difficult to go, okay, this is a sentence I want. He knows the sentences in his head. And then for each letter he goes, okay, so the letter B, that's the second one in the alphabet. I need this to add up to this number. And he just writes it down. Not difficult.
So why do you think? I put 100. I've never done binary code in school or in college or anywhere, so I don't know how easy or hard it is to do. But the documentary and the literature I've read on it saying it's quite hard. But the way you've explained it sounds pretty much anyone with an academic brain can do it, or even a brain can do it.
Yeah, well,
But they
I've got a sorry, Carl. So I've got a joke actually. So there are 10 types of people in this world. Those that can understand binary and those that can't. If you understand binary, you know that 10 just equals 2. It's not 10. Anyway, doesn't get any last one. I tell it.
Yeah, you have to be some geek convention to roll that one out. So I was looking at the wiki page, and they don't mention the binary.
I've read this about 10 years ago. If you just punch in Rendelsham Forest binary code, are you reading that, Nick?
Yeah. So apparently, his notebook contains the wrong date and time for the event.
Yeah, I've read that as well. Oh, well, his notebook was wrong. But I'll be honest with you. If people said to us, when did you do the pod? When did we do the last podcast, Nick?
A couple of weeks ago.
What day?
A couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, but what day though, roughly?
Oh, I don't know. Wednesday.
I think it's Wednesday as well, and I don't know the date. That's what I mean. So it could be. I know it's Wednesday, but I don't know what date it was. I'll just say the 1st of March or something like that.
Well, given that it's the 24th, I'd just take 14 off today's date, so I'd say it was the 10th. But you just look at a calendar before you wrote it down, wouldn't you?
Yeah, true. I suppose it doesn't. None of us are lying. It just means we just got our dates wrong. I understand that he had his dates wrong on the notepad, but did you see the binary code on the phone?
No, I've not seen it yet.
The thing that puzzles me about this as well is if all the sort of encounters I read and I don't know if these were all closer to 1980 than when these guys came out with this binary code years later. No one mentions getting near to a spaceship. They were just all like following lights through trees.
That's the bit where that Penniston guy changes his story. He said there was like messages on the craft, like literature on the graph, but it didn't look foreign to him. It said it looked like Egyptian hieroglyphs, but it looked very modern. If he said it says he understood it. He says he didn't understand it, but he didn't. It didn't look foreign to him.
Sorry, man, I know exactly what this is. So you're talking about Egyptian hieroglyphs from the future. Do you remember the 1980s version of Battlestar Galactica? They were basically descendant from Egyptians, and they were trying to search Earth. It was probably them coming back, man.
So it is a true story then. You know what? I'm not convinced. I'm calling bullshit from start to finish. The bit on the Wikipedia says they reckon it was the SAS playing a prank on them or trying to infiltrate the base or something.
That only came out in 2018, though, didn't it? David Clarke came up with this new theory about the SAS.
I'll be honest, it's hard to do a full podcast on this one because even the documentaries I've watched are only 15 minutes long.
So Carlos, obviously this 1980s event is probably the most famous, but did you actually know that the same Air Force Base had a UFO sighting in the 50s?
No, I did not know that. Has it always been a military base? That always been a military base.
Well, not always, but yeah, I guess since World War II, it's been a base, and it was probably that's when they gave it to the Yanks, and they just kept it. They just kept a foothold in England. No, apparently it was another one of lights being sighted on a radar, traveling at like 2,000 or 3,000 miles an hour, passing directly over the base. And when it passed over the base, it blipped off the radar, and then it blipped back on again. But that can be explained because a lot of ground radar back then did have like dead spots directly above them.
Okay.
However, when it did pass over, people on the base saw the light with their eyes physically, so they didn't see it stop. They tracked it with their eyeballs basically, and then it reappeared. But apparently it was doing 2,000 or 3,000 miles an hour, and there was a pilot at about 4,000 feet up at one point. Not sure exactly his orientation, but he reports a light going underneath him. This light going underneath him. But they've sort of said, oh yeah, well at the time there was that. What's the famous meteor shower we get every year? But there's a heavy meteor shower we get every year, and the people sort of saying it possibly could have been a meteor that got close to Earth before disintegrating or something. I don't know. But that's all I know about that one, really.
Thanks for sharing, man. So what are you calling it, Carlos? Are you calling it bullshit or are you calling it for real?
The bit where on this one, what I see which could be bullshit is they've made a lot of money out of this, which most people do, and their stories has evolved and got better as the year. The story's not got shitter. The story's got better. So it's like they're paraphrasing themselves. So that's when I start thinking when most stories, when you tell people the true story, it's boring, but their stories gets better and better. It's like fucking hell, what a great event you were part of. But most people would say, I seen some lights, I walked over, and it disappeared. Full stop. They're getting information transferred on. They touch it, getting information transferred to them. They've absorbed this binary code. It's given them a message, exploitation of humanity, and now the message is in English, I should say, and they're actually talking it potentially could be time travelers from the future. I think the year 8,100 coming back to England. I remember reading them figures a long time ago. 8,100. That was the year they went to come back.
Even Jenny Randall, you must have heard of her. I heard of her years and years ago, man. Even she reported on it in '81 and doesn't even think it's an unearthly craft. She thinks it's some sort of atmospheric phenomenon of unknown origin. We should all go to Rendlesham Forest. Apparently there's a trail now you can follow and walk around and stuff.
Cool. Can you go on your mountain bike?
You probably mountain bike it, yeah.
But what do you think about this one? That it could be. Then again, it's difficult to ask this next question if you completely think it's BS. The whole event's BS. You know what I mean?
Go on, what is the question?
Because the message was in English. Why would aliens talk to us in English or leave a message in English? Could they be time travelers?
I'd like to know if they spelt the words in English or American words in his binary language. Has he? So can you see a script of this binary code he's written down somewhere?
Yeah. It's on the internet. It's actually documented on the internet.
There's a translation of the binary code. So it says exploration of humanity 666 8100. That's probably a telephone number selling something. And then there's some coordinates. And then it says continuous for planetary advan question mark question mark question mark. Fourth coordinate.
Wait, what is in binary? What's question mark?
Whatever the ASCII of the number is for question mark.
So you reckon they've mapped that?
Possibly. Every key on your computer is binary. It's got a binary code behind it. Sorry, fourth coordinate, continue out, UQS, CBPR before, and then coordinate, eyes of your eyes, origin, coordinate, origin year, 8100. So
Okay, lots of things spring to mind. Mostly what the heck and bullshit. What is that all about? Did that make sense to anybody?
No, it did make sense, but if it was
Are we waiting on the next time traveller to fill in the blanks? Is that half a sentence?
no, but the thing is, if it was bullshit, it'll be a lot tighter than that. It'll be a lot cleaner than that. Because if you're going to bullshit something, you make it a little bit tidier. This is a bit, I won't say gobbledygook. It still makes sense, but it's a bit of gobbledygook. So if I was going to fake something, I'd fake it a little bit better than that.
Sounds like he halfway through forgot how to do binary and just started writing shite.
Yeah, maybe someone was watching him. I'm just looking at the coordinates now. There's the Great Pyramids.
So one of the coordinates is for the Great Pyramid.
Yeah, it's not spot on the Great Pyramid. One is in Turkey. It's between the Great Pyramid and the one to the left of it, and it's not on the Sphinx, mate.
So there could be another pyramid buried there, which we've not seen.
It's right next to a road that goes between the pyramids. There's nothing buried there.
No, but we don't know. We go back 5,000 years ago. There could have been something there.
Somebody must have been to the sites, have they?
You can see stuff to the north, stuff to a pyramid to the right, and a pyramid to the south. There's not a room for another building there. Nothing of note anyway.
Maybe it's just how much the land has moved in the last couple of thousand years.
Yes, that's another one. That's good shout, Nick. Good shout.
Well, to me, it looks like this guy has picked certain places in the 80s, and maybe the coordinates were off a little bit. So the places in Greece. It's right next to the Apollo Temple, so he's pretty close on that one. The one in China is right next to Taishan Mountain. Don't know what significance that has. Obviously, the Nazca lines. I knew it was the Nazca lines before I zoomed out because you could see them on the desert floor. That's just in the middle of the desert, but you can see, you zoom out and you see it's Nazca. The pyramids, and the one in Turkey again is in the middle of some valley in Turkey. I don't know what that has got to do with anything.
Turkey is the if you believe, like I said, mainstream archaeology, it's the birth of civilization. It's the old Iran, Syria, Turkey, the old Mesopotamia. So maybe I'm not saying it. I'm just trying to, because obviously these pinpoints are random, completely random. But they could actually, if you were to jot them down on the planet, they could make.
It doesn't sound very random to me. He's got like half of the 7 wonders of the world in there.
Yeah, the last one is the pyramids in South America.
In fact, it sounds like
So-
he's just lined up all the wonders of the world.
Yeah, he has. And back in the 80s, when you didn't have Google Maps and pinpoint accuracy with GPS, he's probably looked them up.
Yeah, well, I would have think he's researched them and he's got them from somewhere. The Encyclopedia Britannica, probably.
He's trying to make this look like it's some sort of document for a time traveler, so I can see where he's getting it from. So he's completely fabricated this. So he's got origin year. So he's saying he's come from the year 8100, right? We're in the year 2020 now.
I wasn't far
Right.
off, was I? I wasn't far off. I think I actually said that.
So he's fabricated this, I reckon. And then it says the exploration of humanity. Don't know what the 666 is, but then
That's my IQ.
These coordinates you've put are probably saying, oh yeah, these are coordinates I'm going to visit because they're big. The places you would go to if you were a time travel. You would go to the birth of Christ. You'd go to the pyramids and see them. You'd go to the here, there, and everywhere, wouldn't you? Because there's a load of mystery. We don't know what actually went on, do we?
No.
So these are places, if you did have the ability to time travel, you would go to. So the guy's fabricated it, and I think the origin is basically saying this is where this is where he left. So he's leaving from somewhere in the UK, and he's going to these 6 places.
Stick around for some bloopers and sound bites taken out of context that didn't make the edit for this episode, and don't forget to like and subscribe.
Have you ever read up on any topic that we've covered on the podcast?
No, I haven't read up in Rendlesham either.
Yeah, you said that? Well, I thought you were farting down this microphone or something.
Carlos has got mad cow disease, never mind corona. I've heard if you got a tiny penis, you got a good chance of surviving, Carlos. So you shouldn't worry. But I am fucking terrified.
We'll do a human sacrifice. No, we won't take Nick because last time we took Nick somewhere, he forgot the fucking tickets, didn't he?
Well, you can hear it back on the podcast.
Anyway, doesn't get any last one, I tell it.
I've got a big smile on my face. It's good. It's good. Give me a second. I've actually got the giggles now because. the